Hey there guys and gals, it's me Jeffrey again. Today we're doing a creepypasta and I haven't done these in a while, so bear with me. I'm trying to get back to this. So anyways, we're doing a MyLittlePony creepypasta called Flutterschmooze. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Hope I didn't butcher it. So anyways, I'm gonna read this creepypasta word for word. So let's get to it. Flutterschmooze. Confidential. Hasbro internal investigation report regarding incident. Day of incident. September 25, 2010. Time of incident, 12 p.m. Location of incident, Beverly Center Mall, A500, Beverly Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. Meet the MyLittlePony character events. Person involved, Catherine Wilson. Missing. Person writing the report, Donna Nixon. Hasbro Legal. Summary of the incident. On Saturday, September 25, 2010, at the Beverly Center in Los Angeles, California, Hasbro Marketing has prepared for a meet and greet of MyLittlePony characters and 6 promotional characters for their October 10, 2010 premiere. 6 actors and actresses were hired to be in the costume for the event. The meet and greet was supposed to last from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, followed by another event the next day. After the incident, all future events have been canceled. 5 of the 6 characters exited the main dressing room and proceeded to walk to the stage, except for Fluttershy, who is being played by Catherine Wilson. She was the last to exit the dressing room. Problems arose from the start that included an unusual odor and the assault of several guests. Police was called at some point after the actress was escorted from the stage. She was hospitalized shortly thereafter. See Daryl Castle's attached witness report. On Saturday, September 25, 2010, Daryl Castle, was tasked with escorting the characters out from the dressing room onto the stage at the Beverly Hill Mall. Miss Catherine Wilson, actress hired to play Fluttershy, was the last to arrive on stage. Alright, it was apparent that something was wrong. Miss Wilson appeared to be intoxicated. She was walking in an abnormal way and was unable to travel in a straight line. When asked if she was okay, she merely nodded and proceeded forwards. I also noticed that her costume was filthy. Dark stains were all over the Fluttershy costume with the eyes blacked out. There was also a strange smell emanating from the inside of it. At first, it smelled like bile, and when her legs briefly collapsed under her weight, they seemed squishy. Once again, I asked Miss Wilson if she was able to continue. Once again, she nodded, insisting that she would be able to perform her duties. I let her go on stage and called wardrobe for the spare Fluttershy costume we had in storage for the emergencies to be brought out for her to change into after the first set. When they entered the stage set up for the meet and greet, all the characters went to their preset locations except for Miss Wilson, who continued to act in a strange way. She refused to stay in her area and kept moving around to the other location. More noticeably was how she interacted with the kids. Most of the kids in attendance wanted nothing to do with the Fluttershy character. They constantly shied away from Miss Wilson when she approached them. Some of the younger ones began to cry hysterically when she got close to them. None of the other characters had this problem, as there were reasonably long lines for the other 5. When a few of the children got the nerve to approach Fluttershy and pose for a picture, Miss Wilson started to act even stranger. She would grab him and hold him in the possessive manner. She would then act as if she was going to devour said kid, opening the costume's mouth wide enough for the costume to potentially swallow said child. At this point, the child would begin crying, and I would have to drag the child away from the parents and away from her. At this time, I needed to point out that the smell from the costume had gotten even stronger and more noticeable. It wasn't so much bile as it was the smell of rotting meat. It was quite strong, with guests visibly retching whenever she got close enough. In one incident, Fluttershy, Catherine Wilson, was clearly upset when a little child refused to get close to her as she avoided Fluttershy and walked back to her parents. Fluttershy proceeded to follow her out from the stage and onto the floor, still with that strange walk and visibility, tried to force the child back to the stage. It was apparent the girl was frightened by Miss Wilson's actions. It was then I approached the actress. I placed my hand on the shoulder and in an attempt to direct her back to the stage. When I did, I noticed that the costume was squishy. It was as if there wasn't anything solid within the costume. Whatever was that Miss Wilson put into the Fluttershy costume, it leaked through the fabric and onto my hand. As I continued to direct her to the stage, it was black, cold, and stung on contact. At this point, I radioed security and had them escort the other actors to the dressing room, and to call 911 and a hazmat team to deal with the potentially dangerous substance that leaked from the costume. The longer I stayed with Fluttershy or Wilson, I felt uneasy. It was as if a visceral, pure rage began to emanate from the costume. She was beginning to terrify me, even so I stayed with her, keeping her separate from the other actors until the last one of them had entered the dressing room. When the last actor entered the dressing room, I asked one of the security guards, Roger Halstead, to keep an eye on Miss Wilson while I checked on the other actors. Upon entering the dressing room, I noticed two of the Beverly Center Mall maintenance workers trying to enter the door to the mop room. Initially, I paid them no mind and asked the actors if they noticed anything bizarre about Miss Wilson before they were to change into their costumes. They said that Miss Wilson was already in the costume when they entered. It was at this point that the mall manager entered the dressing room to unlock the mop room. When he did, and the door opened, he screamed, "Jesus!" in an alarm which caught my attention. I ran to the mop room, and inside was Miss Wilson. She was bleeding from her right hand. Four of her fingers and fingernails were missing from scratching her hand across the wall. In her own blood, she had written as follows: "There are too many Fluttershys, they won't let me breathe. There are too many Fluttershys, they won't let me think. The Fluttershys hate me, the Fluttershys hate me, the Fluttershys are laughing at me." After seeing those words, the words became incomprehensible to read. It was then that we all heard the scream coming from the hallway. It was Halstead. His scream was followed by the screams of several of the actors who had run to the door to see what was going on and were now in full retreat from the doorway. I quickly made my way to the hall where I gagged at both what I saw and smelled. Lying in the hallway was the lower half of Halstead. It was almost as if his upper torso had been melted away. Next to him lay the stained and discarded Fluttershy costume. The putrid smell of rotten death quickly enveloped the hall, and I ordered an evacuation. Once outside, we met with the paramedics who treated me for minor burns to my hand where the goo had touched it. Miss Wilson, who was babbling incoherently, was taken to the hospital for treatment and observation. We agreed that Mr. Castle's initial assumption was that Miss Catherine Wilson had been taking some illegal drug and was intoxicated. We believe that this was a type of airborne psychotropic drug that ultimately affected her the most severely and everyone else in the mall to a much lesser degree, causing hallucinations. We believe that Miss Wilson had arrived early and released said drug while in the mop closet and then changed into the costume. By the time the others arrived on scene, the toxin had permeated the air within the mall. Due to Miss Wilson's longer exposure to it, her reaction was more severe. How she wound up in the closet is questionable. We can assume that perhaps the others had simply not noticed her locking herself in it and were beginning to suffer the effects of the drug. This would explain the lack of the previously mentioned body of security guard Roger and the lack of any black fluid at the scene. The suit, which did smell awful, was incinerated at the close of the initial investigation. Miss Catherine Wilson, who was committed at the Rothman Memorial Hospital's psychiatric wing, disappeared 2 weeks later after the fact. Federal and local authorities had been informed, and she appears on the no-fly list as we speak. We do not expect to hear from her again, however, we have told security to keep their eyes open for her. Addendum. It is unknown at this time who is responsible for inflating all those yellow balloons with the pink butterflies and rabbit designs in the room of Miss Wilson. Nor is it clear who left the Fluttershy plushie with its eyes blacked out in her room as well. We will have to conduct an internal investigation into who might be responsible for such actions and speak with our manufacturers in China. These dolls aren't supposed to be on the market yet, and the fact that one of them showed up in the mental hospital is clearly a violation of our marketing and product policies. When found, the employee or employees should be terminated immediately to prevent further violations. Well, that was morbid as hell. Now, all aside, this was a pretty good creepypasta. Although the cliches like the death of the guy Roger like being melted away like from the top half, like leaving his bottom half. It's kind of morbid. And the blood cliches, like the blood letters scrawled on the wall, that's kind of a cliche too. Now the thing is, what kind of psychotropic drug was Miss Wilson putting in the costume? Was it like some kind of like drug that like was like, let's say, acidic? Was it like a drug or slime that like basically like acts like lava? Then why is the black goo like cold and stung on contact? That doesn't make sense. Like, it could have been like some kind of acid or something corrosive. And the other thing is, why was there a plushie with its eyes blacked out in the mental hospital after like 2 weeks later, after Miss Wilson escaped? That just confuses me. And the last thing I like about this creepypasta is how it talks about it in a similar log fashion to the Mario creepypasta, all capitals, like where the user Adam would put logs into the story to talk about his experience of what happened with the Mario copy or Mario ROM hack that sent Mario into a hell that looked like Yoshi's Island. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this creepypasta, and what would you like to change to make it better? This is me, Jeffrey Sambursky, and I am out.